Right, let's talk about the woke for a moment, because their obsession with dividing humans into oppressors and the oppressed is about to hit a high watermark at next year's Soccer World Cup. Progressives in Seattle were giddy to find out that the United States would be hosting the World Cup because they saw a platform where they could promote LGBTQ rights on a global scale. But their glitter soon turned to gloom when, oh, by the way, before I mention that, they were so excited about the US hosting the World Cup and a game being played in Seattle, but even more excited when they realised the game coincided with their gay and lesbian festival, which is held annually. So their idea was, we will make that World Cup game into a pride match. Now, the glitter soon turned to gloom when the FIFA organisation drew the names out of a hat as to who would play in the pride match, and the countries drawn were Iran and Egypt, which means Queers for Palestine are about to get a very quick lesson on how the Middle East view them. In Iran, obviously, homosexuality is punishable by death, and the Iranian Soccer Federation described the idea of playing in a pride match as, quote, an irrational move, which translated, I think, means there's no way in hell. In Egypt, homosexuality is not actually illegal, but it's often prosecuted under vague debauchery laws. The Egyptian Soccer Federation described the idea of playing in a pride match as, quote, a terrible clash with cultural, social and religious values. So this sets up something that's probably more interesting than the game itself. What are they going to do to resolve this? Because if the teams refuse to play, well, then they are homophobic. But if the organisers demand that the teams play, well, then they're Islamophobic. So how this plays out, I think, will be far more interesting than what actually happens on the pitch.
I mean, I have never been in favour of these themed rounds, especially the Pride round. I just think, why? And what is so interesting is when it's Christians that refuse to play in the Pride round or refuse to wear the Pride jersey, or if it was a Christian country that said, actually, we don't want to play in the Pride round, could you imagine the outrage? It would be everywhere. Backwards, homophobic Christians, how dare they? But when it's Egypt and Iran that are certainly not Christian, then really there's pretty much silence. I mean, I was surprised that this story hasn't been discussed much at all. And I think it's because the left realises they're stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one. Best if we just hush and ignore it all.
No, but they can't ignore it. They have to be principled about this. I mean, just like they were with the Manly players who didn't want to wear the Pride jersey. I mean, they went after all those Islander boys and said, no, because just because you're Christian doesn't mean that you can't wear the Pride jersey. And so they should apply exactly the same standard here. Now, we know that won't happen, a la Haneen Zarika, who plays in the AFLW for Greater Western Sydney, Muslim woman, and she has sat out of Pride round for a few consecutive years. She didn't play this year, but that's because she was off pregnant, I think. But the 2 years prior to that, after consulting her team and the AFL and the inclusion division at the AFL, they deemed that she would not play in the Pride round, and that was all supported. But again,
it wasn't just supported; she was actually praised for standing up for her culture and being principled.
Correct. But of course, what we need to remember here is that these things go both ways. And I'm not a particular fan of Pride round or whatever, but when the World Cup was played in Qatar in 2022, and Qatar is a country where being gay is illegal, the captains of England, the Netherlands, Belgium, Denmark, Germany, Switzerland and Wales decided that they would wear armbands. Weren't even rainbow, but armbands to show some solidarity with gay people in a country where their sexuality is illegal. And they were told by FIFA they couldn't do it. It was banned because, of course, you're in a country where it's illegal to be gay, and so you've got to respect the law. They also banned the sale of beer in the stadiums for the World Cup in Qatar. So when it's over there, we play by their rules. So if you want to come and play in Western countries, you have to play by our rules as well. Funnily